welcome to the Women Waves podcast. Today we've got some incredible women on with us. We have the amazing Anais Ferrato and Oriane Pick from Candid Broads Productions. Welcome. We've also got the lovely Rebecca Sidhom and Charlie Young from the Girls Network. I'll go through everyone. If you just want to tell us a little introduction, tell us a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll just get straight into it. So, Oriane, if you want to start us off.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having us. It's great. So I'm a filmmaker and an actor based in London. And in March 2020, I created my production company, Candid Broads Productions. And we've had quite a few projects since the start of the pandemic, which was surprising to us. But yeah, all went well. And yeah, we're excited for what's to come. And Anais is working with me at Candid Broads, so I'll leave it to her to introduce herself.
Yes, so my name is Anais and I'm the assistant producer at Candid Production. So it's a female-led production company founded by Oren right at the beginning of the pandemic. And so basically we aim to create unique but human-centered stories whilst bringing to forefront female-led content.
Amazing.
Wow.
How did you manage to do that through COVID?
It's been difficult for sure. But we had a project that we had in mind that we really wanted to bring to life. And especially because it's mental health related as well, we thought now is the best time to do it. We've obviously, because of COVID, we've had to reschedule the shoot a couple of times. It was quite difficult to also find funding for it. But in the end, all in well, I think one thing that we truly believe in is that everything happens for a reason. And we actually made it slightly later in the year, but far better than what it would have been had COVID not hit, I guess, in the sense that we had more time to prep for it and really get our vision across. So yeah, it's been challenging for sure, but a massive, massive lesson to learn as independent filmmakers. So all good in the end for sure.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of happy with it during COVID because at the time Oren had this vision and this mission about the company, but we really took our time to develop it and make it what Oren wants to do as well, which was really interesting. And that's why now we have a lot of people contacting us with their script, is because they know that what we're doing is genuine and we've taken some time to do it, which is really amazing.
Did you plan to start this company before COVID hit, or was it kind of like so you'd already been planning it?
Yeah, so I wanted to have it, I think it was early March, it was like probably a couple of weeks before COVID actually really hit. We heard of COVID, but no one really knew what was to come. I think no one could really plan for it, to be honest. But yeah, we heard about the rumor that COVID might take the whole world, and obviously we didn't believe that would ever happen. And it did. 2 weeks later, the whole world just went on shutdown, so yeah.
I don't think anyone knew it was going to blow up.
No.
No one was prepared. But you've done amazing to have done that during such a difficult time, so congrats.
Yeah,
thank you.
We've also got the incredible Rebecca Sidhom from the Girls Network. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Rebecca?
Yeah, I'm 14 years old, and I'm just doing school at the moment, but I'm super interested in both the Girls Network because it's a very strong feminine kind of thing, and it's nice. And I'm also interested in acting and drama, so this is a really amazing opportunity for me, so thank you so much for letting me be here.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. How's the acting treating you? Have you done I know you do some classes and
yeah, I about a year or two ago I joined an acting class called Class Act Drama, but because of COVID, we haven't actually been in for a year, and we've been doing online work, which is really good because now I know so much history about acting and different types of acting in drama, in general, and it's really cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, hopefully the journey goes well. It's just
yeah.
I mean, you've started early, so it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Hopefully, I can do what I want to do in life, and I want this to be the way. So yeah,
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about the Girls Network. How long have you been with them?
I think my first session was I think almost either 6 months or a year ago. I'm not sure which, But I've been hit with my mentor my mentor for like a while, and I'm really enjoying just having her advice, and she's become a massive role model to me, as she is in an amazing position in her place of work, and she is just so inspiring and so amazing. And it was a wonderful pair because like we're quite similar, so she's really helped me with a lot of things, from my education, from getting into like the world of work, to just being my friend. It's awesome.
It's amazing how everyone who, like all the young women who get mentors, their pairing is just so brilliant. Everyone we've spoken to,
her business, like what she's doing is completely different to what I want to do. Our personalities are so similar, it's like unbelievable. It's really cool. Like it was a really good match.
That's so nice.
A lot of the girls have said that, haven't they? Like, it doesn't necessarily matter if you're not into the exact same things in terms of your career. It's more about the personality, and you can get so much out of that.
I think so. One of the things our network managers are really good at, and they're the people that run the program in the local areas, is getting to know the girls and getting to know the mentors. So when they're making the matches, obviously they're looking at what the girls want to do, they're looking at the areas of work the mentors have, so there is some sort of sense in that, but actually it's also about the personalities and how they think they're going to connect as well, because that's so important in forming a relationship, which is fundamentally what it's based around. And we need to know that the mentees are going to be able to connect with and build a relationship with and trust their mentor, and vice versa. And actually, if the mentor doesn't have necessarily the exact experience or the exact contacts, that's why the network part of the girls' network is so exciting, because somewhere else within the network will have those connections, so we can still facilitate that as well.
That's actually true. I managed to like be on this through the girls' network, and this is in the step of what I want to do with my career. So yeah, it's like totally true.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I wish I had a mentor when I started as well, because that's, especially that kind of industry as well, it can be very very difficult without having that kind of support. And there's so much you can get from your friends and family, obviously, but if you've got that mentor really really helping you throughout and pushing you to get to where you want to go, then that's just absolutely fantastic. So yeah.
I was just going to say, have you now got a mentor, or are you still no?
No, I really want one though, because I feel like in terms of the producing, but the acting as well, that could help me cope with so many things. So I'm desperately trying to find the right mentor as well. I know I really want to, especially now with the production company, we're hoping that we could get into the BFI crew network. And then I know that they've got amazing mentors as well through that, because that would be absolutely the dream. So let's see. But yeah, it's hard to find that mentor that you fully trust, so well done guys, that's amazing.
I guess like having your own production company as like a female-led production company, in a way, it can kind of mentor other girls in a sense of like, if you see something being done, then it just shows that you're able to do that. So having this company is a very inspiring thing to do anyway. I think it's really cool what you guys are doing. How did you first start? Like, what's the process that goes into creating your own company?
I think it started in a bit of a kind of like backwards, if that makes sense, in the sense that we had a web series that we were really, really happy with, and we realized that we just wanted to create a lot more content, and we wanted to, instead of creating separately each film, we would just want to have everything sit under one umbrella and just make the most of it and work with up-and-coming directors and make it really female-led. So that was obviously, as Anais said, something that was really, really important to us, and we felt something that needed more support in the industry. So yeah, it just came, it's so odd. It's essentially one of my friends who's a first AD on pretty much on all our sets. She was like, why don't you just like create your own production company? So the idea didn't even come from me, really. I knew I kind of like had something in mind, but I didn't really know what. And then when she said it, I was like, so stupid. Why didn't I think about that by myself? So yeah, and then the next day we were just looking into how to make that happen. So yeah, it was really exciting.
So
would you have like a step by step, if you could do it in notes? How?
Step by step. So, I mean, that's the boring part. You need to start with the admin, which is incredibly boring, and that's going through company's house. But the exciting part is to find your production company's name and find what you want it to, because with the name you need to think about what it will tell people as soon as they hear it as well. So that was the creative part that we were doing at the same time as like setting up everything in terms of the admin. But the admin bit, it's just boring. But then putting the logo together and then trying to find the visual identity of, because it's like a brand essentially. So if you find the visual identity and what the colors that you want to use and why do you want to use those colors and all of that creative thinking behind it, that was so interesting. And Anais she was actually the one saying, no, you need to think about it. You can't just say you like pink or you like red or you like blue. You need to think, why is it that you like this? So Anais was like really good at like trying to like narrow it down and making sure that I wouldn't go like all over the place. So that was great.
That's my advertising background.
So why Candid Broads? What brought you to that?
So broads, because of, I mean, that was the US term to say chicks, I guess, so like, women. And then Candid, because we always want to be really truthful and very like frank and like blunt, not blunt, but like really straight to the point as well, and not just lie around or just like, trying to say something without saying it. We're very French in that sense. Like if we have something to say, we will say it, and that's why the Candid. So it kind of like made sense, and soon it was hard to find the two things together, but as soon as we found it, we're like, okay, that's the one.
That's it.
It's a great name.
I was going to say.
And nice. How did you get to be working together? Like what brought you both together?
So I met Orion in, was it 2019? It was in an acting class.
Yeah.
Oh.
And basically a couple of weeks after, she came up to me with this idea of a web series called Call It Today, who she could produce. And she was like, we need someone on set. Do you want to be a runner? And the thing is, the great thing to be a runner is that you can see all the departments working together, and you can learn from them. And then production was something that caught my eyes. And I could see Orion like doing all this thing on set, and I was just like, I want to do that one day. So I got to be a runner for Call It Today, and then I helped her with the publicity for Call It Today. And then later on, she was just founding a company, and she was like, I'm working on this short film called I Am, and I need help. And she knew that I wanted to produce as well, and she said, do you want to be my assistant producer? And then I just sticked around. She can't get rid of me anymore, but that's how I got into it.
That's so good. I mean, that's how it should happen, really. Like, you've obviously created a connection, and Oriane's kind of like your mentor almost.
Yeah, that's what I would say. It's like, it's so crazy because when I was, so I'm French as well, and when I was back in France, my parents said, you need a stable job, like be a teacher. And I was always in this mindset. And then I met Oriane, and she kind of gave me the strength to say, you need to do what you want to do. You have just one life. And then
I kind of killed
that's
that for
how
her
I
parents.
said so that's why I said, okay, I need to do something that I like. So I always had a passion for film, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be an actress. That's not my thing, but I wanted to do in the production side of it. And since then, Oriane has been a great mentor. I've been helping her on a lot of things. I've learned a lot. So yeah, she's amazing.
Oh,
That's so sweet.
I mean,
sweet.
to be honest, I would have, because I mean, you all know what the industry can be like, I'm sure, and it's really hard, and especially during the pandemic, obviously, it's really hard to keep going, and Anna's been the rock. Like, she's been the one saying, you've got something special, you have to keep going because the company is going to become something one day. And yeah, it was, without Anais, it wouldn't be what it is today, for sure. So it's been an ongoing, like, mutual support from the start to now.
So, Rebecca, have you thought about doing film, or do you want to do acting in theatre, or?
I think I've always sort of had like been drawn to films and how like they're made and how people are able to convey such emotion, either if it's in like a long kind of pan or just a straight on shot. And broad like on stage kind of scares me because it's live and you've got to learn so much. It's but on film it just seems so much, to me anyway, it just seems really like beautiful, and you can do so much more than you can do on a stage. And I just love film.
I think it's a very interesting process, both of them though, because they're quite different. In terms of stage, I know I was so scared every time I had, like right before coming on stage, I literally thought I would faint. It was incredibly scary. But the moment you actually put your foot on stage and you see those people, it's incredible and everything goes away. It's really an odd feeling. I've never really known how to best describe it, whereas on film it's a whole different kind of like adrenaline as well, because it's so interesting as well, and you've got more chances to get it right. But at the same time you've got 30 or 40 people or way more depending on the production that are looking at you, and when you need to cry on cue, then it's like, okay, now there's like they wanted to see the tears. I need to give them the tears ASAP. Otherwise, we're gonna fall behind schedule. You're gonna see this person upset and this person and this person, and so it's very interesting because they're both very different challenges as an actor, I think, but they're very complementary as to like what you learn when you get to do them, I think.
I do have to say, like, acting on the stage, both it looks, and I've done like a small production on stage, but even that, when you're on stage, like you do forget everything, and that's even just on like a small scale. But and then you see things like that's on stage. Like I watched Hamilton for the first time just like a month ago, and it just looked amazing. It looked so much fun. And especially when it was just people live doing this in one take, it just seemed so like amazing, like and amazingly done. So they are both amazing, like really interesting.
Very, very different as well, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like same field, but just completely different. And I think there's a buzz that you get from that first night on stage where you're just like, this is incredible. But then also, like you said, it's amazing being on set surrounded by all these people that are all, I think the best thing about being on set is seeing everyone in their element, because they're all doing what they love to do, and there's something really special with that. Did you do drama at school, Rebecca? Is it something that you were able to do much of?
When I was in like Key Stage 3, then yes, we did. I had lessons, but then my drama teacher left and I didn't get to do a GCSE in it, which was sad. And it was just when I was beginning to really like appreciate it and really want to try my hardest to get into that kind of line of career. So it kind of sucked, but it's okay, because now I took a different subject that got me to like, that will probably teach me just a wide range of things. So I'm like taking French instead, so I can, it's good to know.
Definitely, and it's never too late. Like, literally, you are so young, and even if you weren't, it's never too late to change that. So just because you don't do it at school, it doesn't mean that's not what you can get into. Like, there was no drama at my school, and it didn't really stop anything. So I think it's good that you're not disheartened by that.
No.
Yeah, definitely don't be, I'd say, because my parents and I moved countries every 4 years, so it was impossible to be at drama school or to do anything. I mean, I was doing like drama theatre at school sometimes, but it wasn't the same as, you know, being in a drama school and being pushed by your teacher and really focusing on that. And yet it's weird, because I then kind of like forgot about it, and I came back to acting at some point when I realized something was really missing, and that's when I started my first full-time job, and I was 24. So if it's meant to like come back, it will always be there and it will never leave. And it sounds very cheesy, but it's exactly how it happens for me. So
definitely. How was traveling? How was like moving around every 4 years? How did you find that?
I loved it.
Wow.
It was so amazing. It so many different cultures, because the countries were completely different. So we lived in, obviously, Europe, we lived in Africa, we lived in Asia as well, and everything was so different. And for instance, we went from living in Myanmar in Asia to living in Russia. So it was plus 30 degrees, and then a day later it was minus 30 degrees, and I was like, oh my god, massive shock. So for the first time in like 8 years, we had to buy like massive coats, which like we never had to do before. So it was so interesting. It was really great. And I think that's why I wanted to move to London as well. I mean, obviously it's not as exotic, I would say, but it's still living abroad. So yeah, I absolutely love that.
It must give you lots of things to draw on as well when you're making films, like all the different experiences and cultures and people you've met and spent time with. That must really give you good inspiration for what you're making.
Totally. It's like something that you get for free, which is great. So that, yeah, definitely, that's been so good to just draw on and use as well whenever I needed to.
So you guys have just finished a short film called Smudged Smile. Tell us a little bit about that. How is that? What's it about? And when can we see it?
Yeah, so Smudged Smile follow a teenage girl called Zoe, and basically she suffers from depression, but no one around her knows about that. And we kind of see her journey from being, all of a sudden, like, she's happy, and then she hit rock bottom, and then she go back to being happy. So it's kind of basically describing what depression looks like. It's not something that, something that comes and go, and it's really important to know because Ella Greenhood, who is the director, and she had this idea in mind, she suffered from depression as well, so it's something that was really close to her heart. So we shot it in February. It's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
And so it's currently in post-production, and it's going to hit the festival really soon.
Amazing. Can't wait to see that. It looks so good.
It's amazing. Yeah. And the actors as well, everyone. It was such a fantastic team to work on. It was my second production as an assistant producer, and it went so smoothly, and it was such a nice experience. Like, everyone got on with each other. It was fantastic.
That's so nice. That's so nice. A lot of your films are based on mental health and, real topics. So is that something that you decided early on that's what you wanted to focus on, or was it something that just kind of came over time?
I think, so the first short film, obviously, within the company was I Am, which was about mental health and more specifically schizophrenia. But in general, what we wanted to do was just tell great stories and really focus on that and really help break the stigmas around some things that are happening in the society and that we really want to see a change. And that's why we wanted to take Smudged Smile on as well when Ella talked to us. But then some of the other projects have nothing to do with mental health necessarily, but they're all like female-led, and they're all talking about a topic that is really dear to our hearts. So even Cutty is about a really unlikely female friendship, but you follow them and you see that amazing chemistry between those two actresses, and you see how the characters just put their differences aside to just become one and really fight for what they really believe in, and that was so inspirational when we read the script. So it really depends on the subject, but definitely has to be something that will help to spark a conversation, I guess. So that's really important to us.
Your whole production company is solely based on women as well, so you've got these two things that you've decided upon. So what inspired you to create a female-based production company?
I think it was, so obviously we saw what was happening in the industry as well, with a lot of like changes for the best, for the better, which we really wanted to make sure we were a part of as well. But one thing that I specifically remembered that actually stayed with me was on Call It Today, so right before we actually created the production company, and we could see that some men that were part of the crew were not really respecting us as much, even though we were technically the showrunners of the series, but they weren't really showing, I mean, regardless of the role anyway, you should always respect your peers, but they were really taking us from like, thinking, well, they're just like women, like very petite, and because I'm very short and like just not, like taking us seriously when it really, really hurt when we saw that, and we realized at some point that actually took us seriously. It was when someone, like a BAFTA nominated actor, just came on set to support us, and then that's when they were like, oh, okay, so they kind of know what they're doing, even though that had nothing to do with what we were doing whatsoever. But that kind of gave us, gave us the opportunity to show, well, no, we're not kidding around with just a smartphone or something. We're actually making something for a really strong purpose here. And I think that's when we realized as well that there was a problem, that we really needed to like focus on more like female-led productions as well, and really make sure that our voices got heard. Because it's very often you've got a story that is about a woman, but it's told in a very wrongfully way. And it's not real enough or authentic enough, or not what we're going through as real people. And we just wanted to make sure that we could try and help change that, I guess.
Yeah.
How's it been received? Have you had any people sort of challenged by it, or who have been critical of it, or has it generally been received well?
Not the company itself. So the company itself, we were really lucky, and that's been just an absolutely amazing ride. But Call It Today, the series, for instance, and that's something that I mentioned as well at some point before, because it's so weird. My character, essentially, because I was acting in it, and there's an episode called Bad Feminists, which is episode 2 of Call It Today, and my character is just going through horrible things. Like, she just got dumped at her engagement party, which obviously really hurt. She lost a promotion over someone else, a guy that is actually a lot younger than her with less experience, but he got the job because of XYZ. And then someone really hit on her, and she feels charmed and very happy, and then at some point he says something that is just, he absolutely should not be saying. And anyway, my character just kind of like loses it, because it's just all too much, which I'm pretty sure in real life I would as well. Like, I would absolutely snap. And when that episode came out on YouTube, the comments that we got were insane. So a lot of them, men, were saying, I would never fall in love with a woman like that. Who's that girl? Like, why is she doing this? How can she react like this? And things like that. We're like, but if that were a man, would you actually say the same thing? Or would you think, damn, he's right to put her in her place? So things like that made us realize, I mean, we were actually really thrilled to get those comments, because we were like, but this is proving a point. This is why we need to do this. But yeah, I guess that's the kind of like backlash that we got. But that just reaffirmed everything that we were doing, really. So in the end, everything happens for a reason, like I said.
Yeah. And I guess an opportunity to sort of educate, right?
100%.
Say, well, actually, this is how we do it, and this is absolutely stories that need to be told, because this is reality, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Totally. I mean, women are not, the perfect women that you saw in the 70s and all of those kind of like movies, they're not like that. We've got flaws as well, and I'm so happy that we've got flaws, just like men have flaws as well. And it's just, we just need to jump on that and just embrace that, because that's what makes a character or like real people actually beautiful as well. So
definitely.
Yeah. Charlie, did you ever have any like films when you were growing up that inspired you to kind of start the Girls Network? Or was there any, I know you've talked before about how your grandparents inspired you a lot, your grandmothers, but was there any films that you kind of remember that were just like, this is so inspiring?
Gosh, that's such a good question. I'm sure there must have been. I mean, there were definitely books. I love the kind of adventurous spirit of things like The Famous Five and The Secret Seven, and the kind of just get up and go and do things. I mean, the TV show I watched a lot when I was younger, which is probably counter to it really, was Pride and Prejudice, the original BBC. But having said that, Elizabeth Bennet was the best character, and she was the one that challenged the expectations of her. She was the one that walked through the muddy fields to go and see her sister. So, I think there might have been an element of that, of like, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. Society might tell me one thing, but I'm going to do something at least slightly challenging to that, something slightly counter to that. So maybe that a little. I don't know. I think films play such a powerful role, don't they? And the narratives, they sort of teach us about what we should expect. And I think it's so easy to internalize that without realizing. I think rom-coms are great fun, but they have a lot to answer for in terms of some of the expectations they give to people about what you should expect your life to look like. And then, you know, you get married and the film stops and you just sort of are left to think it's all happily ever after, or, you know. So I think they are definitely a powerful tool for influencing how people think, and it's really exciting seeing more and more things come out that give more realistic expectations about the world, about relationships, about life. These sort of modern love series on Prime, maybe, or Netflix. Some really good alternative looks at love are brilliant. So
it's really, really fun to look, well, to me anyway, to look back at films that you watched when you were like so much younger and realise how problematic they were. Like, to do like a really simple one, the other month I was watching Snow White for the first time in a long time, and it was just hilarious to me, the amount of stuff it was like, and then the more films you watch like that, the more you realise that they're problematic and they've got definite sexist undertones. But then you've got films like films produced by your company and films like Moxie that came out soon. That was I watched that in like a time when sexism in my school was like was a bit too bad, and it was just really inspiring to see these female young actresses portray these powerful female roles. And it was films now which support that kind of message, they're really good, especially for like young women. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, I feel like there's a massive change now in film because, as you said, film shape your opinion, especially when you're a young girl. Everything that you see, you internalize it, and then that's how you see your world, and that's how, you know, they would react, or that's how they're expected to react. And I feel like nowadays, films made by women, it's just incredible to see because they challenge these expectations. And I wish I had that when I was younger, because, you know, when I was watching film, I was just like, I need to be like this, I need to look like this person, I need to act like this. And it's so, when you think about it now, it's so stupid, and it should have been dealt with way before. But because, you know, the industry is really male orientated, there's still this like push they need to go through for female director and filmmaker to just, you know, do their own things and challenge the patriarchal view of women.
It's seeing women behind the camera as well, isn't it? Not just in front, because we see that often, you know, where it's a female-led film. But if all the people behind it are male, then it's not really a true representation of you know, how things really are.
Yeah, and that's why as well on our sets we love having like at least a 50-50 split, and if we can help it. I mean, on Smudge Mile, for instance, we had 85% female on set, and it was so interesting. I mean, obviously the conversations were completely different, but it was great, and the men love it as well. They were like learning so much, and they were I don't know, they were listening, and then it was great. It was such a great atmosphere. So there was actually as well more conversation going, which was lovely, rather than people, you know, just eating their lunch during lunch break. Like everyone wanted to be together, and that kind of created something really beautiful, I think.
There's a lot more warmth when it's all female. I know when I just did this short film that the director, Ella, just made the whole set so chill. And like everybody was just so relaxed, and she just made everybody feel, I don't know if that's just because she's that kind of person, or if it was because she's female, but there was just such a warmth and a family vibe that she created within 2 days of shooting, which is amazing. So it is so, I do think it is really important. And like, even with things like intimacy scenes, having women there, like, it's so much more comfortable. And I know that guys have even said that to me. They're more comfortable with a female there instead of having a man there with them doing this intimacy scene, because, you know, if it's a man there, they've got something to prove, and a female is very nurturing and will give them the love almost.
But it's crazy when you think that there wasn't any intimacy coordinators before. Like, that wasn't considered a role.
Yeah.
And it was just like the actors were meant to do those intimacy moments without any like intimacy per se. And it's just, when you think about it, it's just, it's crazy, and it's
such a new thing that they've come across, and it's just
it's amazing.
so
helpful and so important. I mean,
So
for the
helpful.
mental health of the actors, it's so important. So important.
Yeah.
Did you see Michaela Cole? She
Thank
like
them. Yeah,
dedicated her award to that, and I think that was just so cool. Because it is such a new thing, isn't it?
It is really important.
But it's such, I mean, there's so many shows like Sex Education, for instance, that, can you imagine having that done, even 5 years ago? Like, it's just, it wouldn't have been the same for the actors, and they had to go through so much in terms of like, intimacy and all of that, that you need that support, you need that help.
So, shout out to the intimacy coordinators.
100%.
Thank you. So, Rebecca, do you have a type of film that you enjoy or you want to be in, or what would be your favourite role to play?
I think my favourite kind of films are ones that like are very layered, so there's just a lot to it. So recently I watched The Grand Budapest Hotel for the first time, and I thought that was just so expertly done. Like, it was... And I love the way the camera works, and the way the colour scheme, and how the actors were you could tell that they were just really intelligent. And I always kind of love those sort of people who just like run up and just do amazing stuff, and they save the whole day, and it's just like all amazing. And it's especially amazing when it's a woman, because you can see like a woman coming in and solving things that and like purposely they will solve things that a man wouldn't be able to in that film, like for the like feminism kind of thing, and it's just it's so awesome to see, and I always kind of want to be one of those actresses that play a female role that just kind of just is such a bad bitch, just going over and just completely just like blocking the whole thing. Like it just seems really cool.
Yeah.
I
see you doing that, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
How do you guys go about choosing a script? Once you've got a script, what's your what draws you in?
Oh, it's really difficult. I think first is the story, the themes that are in the script. We want something that is kind of unique. It's something that hasn't been told before, or something that has something that represents something that is never been told. And it's kind of hard at the moment. It's kind of hard to show that, and every time that we have a script that come across and that has those elements, we know that we need it. One thing as well, we don't like to do the same story, similar stories, so we like to find something really different. That's why, so we did Smudge Man on mental health, but it was depression. Then we had Paul's, where Orion acted in, it was depression, but more in millennials. Koti, it was about social causes. I Am was about schizophrenia. And then we have other one called All Is Mum, which is about the challenges that single working mothers face during COVID, which is really important, and it's going to be an amazing one.
That's going to be good.
Yeah.
So current.
That's going to be
so
really good.
current.
Yeah.
And the script is absolutely beautiful. It's the writer and director is Kieran Bourne, and he's a friend of Orion. And the way he's writing is just so pure and so raw, and all the emotion you can feel them is just, I just can't wait to film that.
We're going to be shooting on film as well, so we're very excited.
Remember that.
Nice.
No way, that's very cool.
Good old Hollywood style.
I want to shoot on
Same.
film.
I did it once on calls, and that was incredible. But so
Really?
stressful though, because that's also going back to what we were saying before about like crying on cue. They kept that scene for the last scene of the day, and I was so scared I wouldn't be able to get the tears. And I knew, because we were also producing with Anais, I knew that we had that many roles left. So I was like, okay, I can't think about that, but I know I need to get it right in that many takes, because otherwise I've screwed the whole movie up. And so it is quite stressful, but as an actor as well, it's just incredible. It's just, yeah.
How did you manage to get there?
I don't know. It's weird. So it's really odd, because the whole day I was trying to, like, usually I love staying with the crew and with everyone, but I knew that to get to that stage where I would really, really break down, I needed to be alone the whole time to really feel, because the character was going through like depression, but also like loneliness and suicidal thoughts as well. So she really needed to feel completely alone. So I forced myself to that, and then in the end, it's when we started to, because we wanted to rehearse the scene, and so the first idea was like making sure that it was a really close set as well, just for that moment. And just during the rehearsals, it just happened, and we actually lost a take because it was actually what we wanted to do. So I was like, oh damn it, I didn't know I was gonna actually cry. So it was completely unexpected. But yeah, and then we just kept going afterwards. So obviously there's a point where I couldn't cry anymore because I had nothing left in me. But yeah, I think that's the magic about film. It just, you need to trust it as an actor, and at some point it will find you if you've put in the work. I guess that's what I learned, which I was really scared about before this film.
And shooting on film, that's quite an expensive thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
So, like, you must have had a decent budget for it. How did you get the money for it, and do you fundraise?
Well, Anais, I'll leave you that question.
Well, it's difficult because as we're a new company, it's like we need to establish ourselves. And now we have some films under our belt. It's getting really easier, but you know, it still needs to go through crowdfunding, which is a nightmare for me because we have a lot of film coming up. So I need to be quick, and we need to find investors. So this one for Olisma, we want to shoot on 35, which is a bit more expensive. Yeah. So basically, it's about, what we like about crowdfunding is that it's not just asking for investors. It's about raising awareness and making like a future audience maybe. And it's about, because this film is about COVID and it's about lockdown, we feel like everyone can relate to it in a certain extent. It doesn't have to be single working mothers. And that's what we want to do. We want to collaborate with people, and even if it's just, you know, about contributing, there's a lot more to it than just giving money. It's about being behind a film and helping us, and, you know, making a beautiful project together. So yeah, in a nutshell, it's crowdfunding and private investment.
I was just gonna say, the way that we were really lucky in the sense that the crew usually loves shooting on film. So they will always, like, for polls, for instance, everyone agreed, or pretty much everyone agreed, to just do it for free, just to have fun on the day and get together and create something that we can all be proud of. But then we're getting that same crew, and obviously now on Ollie's Mum, we want to make sure that we can really pay them for the work that they've already put in for us as well. But they're always happy to, like, whenever... That's the beauty of filmmakers, I think, and that's the beauty of the industry, is that everyone's so passionate to get on set and create something great that money shouldn't be the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to the actors or the producers or anyone on set, really. It's more like just that family feeling, I think, that it's been just so lovely to have on our sets.
Can I ask, from a place of slight ignorance, but maybe people listening will be in the same position, what difference does it make filming on film and not? Like, as a viewer, how does that affect what you're watching?
It doesn't affect it as much nowadays, I think, because on film there's always this kind of like grainy feeling that you can see, but then you can also trick that when you shoot on digital. You can also add like when you do the color in the end, you can also add like a sort of, the colorist would kill me for using that term, but kind of like a filter that would make that grainy aspect again, that would replicate it. So you could like cheat it somehow, but there's something about film where, because it's like the old Hollywood style, when you've got those rolls, and it's just so nice to see on camera, and the expectations from it as well, because you don't really know what you're shooting until everything's done. Whereas digital, you can watch it back. So there's a lot. On film, you just need to be super quick. You need to get it right. Everyone needs to be on it. And there's this like precision to it that you don't need. I mean, you should have that in digital as well, but it's more relaxed, I guess. Because in digital, you know you can keep going if you need to.
As much about the kind of craft and the art and the process of doing it really as the outcome.
Yeah, totally. Obviously, the feeling of it,
cool.
when you watch the film in the end, is slightly different. And that's why I think I love film as well, because it gives that old kind of like feeling to it, and more like texture, I think, to what you're watching. But I mean, digital's become so good today that you could easily replicate that. It's just that if you want to replicate, why not try and actually do it the right way, I guess. And now I hate the fact that I've fallen in love with film, because as producers, it's obviously costing us so much money.
Expensive.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, Leisha, I thought Leopard, like, there's definitely a lot of filmic style to that. When I first watched it, I thought that was film. So there's definitely a way now where you can make digital look like film, and I think it's getting a lot easier. But there is something to film where it's just like got that old school feel to it.
I love it.
Yeah, it's so nice.
It's quite recent, isn't it? I don't know when exactly it was, but I remember speaking to an old EP that worked in advertising, and he used to tell me that, like, he remembers after they'd do a shoot, like, say if it was abroad, you know, they'd have to book extra suitcases just to carry all the film back. Like, you'd have to just drag the film with you. Like, it was not just a little memory card, which is what they have now. It was like actual rolls that you have to carry.
It is so scary.
And it's so scary as well. Yeah. Orion was like, so for Coty, it was the first time we shot on film, and she couldn't put the roll away. She had to put it in her hand. Like,
I was
not if I drop it, if something happens. Yeah.
Yeah, because then that's it.
I've got some in my fridge still.
Our flat was so warm that she had to put it in a fridge because the temperature was so bad. And so it was stressful. It was such a stressful process, but we made it.
Yeah.
Well done, ladies. Love to see it. The big question for everyone. What advice would you give for any creative listeners out there?
Who wants to go first?
You can go first. Go on.
Did you say me or did you say Anais?
No, I said you.
Oh, damn. I'd say don't listen, and that's from personal experience, don't listen to the haters at all, ever. Keep believing in what you want to do, believe in your vision, and just keep going, because there will always be something good happening from it, for sure. Even if it's not exactly what you wanted to do, it will still bring you closer to that goal. So definitely do not listen to anyone telling you, you can't do this, why are you following this path, that wasn't meant for you. Because I've experienced it and I'm still like recovering from it, and it's just that you need to protect yourself from those people, I think, as much as you can. So that's what I would say.
Mine was similar. I think, as Oren said, it's you need to believe in your vision. It's like, even if people tell you that it's not right, just do it and just, try it out. It's like, it's kind of a trial and error, and that's where you would be able to know what your style is, what your vision. And I think one important one is surround yourself by good people. You always need support in this industry. It's really hard. And I had some people that told me, don't do it, it's not worth it. And, I met Orion, and now I'm in a production company. So, yeah, get a good support.
Woo! Yeah.
I would say just, if you're passionate about something, start as soon as you can. Research what you can do. Join clubs, classes, after school classes, if it's in your school, even if it's just like a 1 hour a week, just like mentoring, just anything you can do to just kind of bump out and pack your CV and your resume filled with experience and knowledge, then I think it'll really help. Well, I hope it'll help. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I hope it'll help.
It definitely will.
It will. You're absolutely right.
I mean, how do I follow that, right? It's a really good point, though. It's that just sort of taking a step at a time, isn't it? And just doing something. I think the thing that I've been thinking about a lot recently, which Oriane and I see your sort of points made me think of as well, is the idea of like working out the things that really matter to you and your real passions or drivers, and holding on to that really tightly, and then holding on to everything else loosely, so that you're able to let go and let things change and see what's going on around you and ride the wave as it comes. And I think that enables you to stay true to what you care about and follow your dreams and your passions or ambitions, but not get so bogged down in the way it has to be, but instead respond to what's around you and the people around you. So that would be my advice. Yeah. Work out what you hold on too tightly and what you hold on too loosely.
That's great advice.
Really good.
I'm gonna do that this evening. Write that down on a little notepad. Thanks, Charlie. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for being on the podcast. Finally, we managed to do it.
Thank you.
It's been so great having you all on, and it's just, I hope you have a lovely evening and got as much out of it as we always do. So it was really fun. Thank you so much for having us.
It was great. Thank you so much.